Welcome everyone to this July edition of our FME webinar series. We're excited to announce that FME 2025.1 has officially launched, and we're celebrating with a special session hosted by our One Spatial Services team. Thank you for joining us for our 5 hot features of FME 2025 from our 5 certified consultants. In this webinar, we'll explore the most powerful new capabilities in the latest release of FME. Our consultants will walk you through their top feature picks, showing how these enhancements can take your data integration and automation workflows to the next level, making them smarter, faster, and more efficient. Before we start our webinar, I'd like to begin acknowledgement to country. Our webinar is being held over the lands of Australia's Indigenous people, and we wish to acknowledge them as traditional owners. We would also like to pay our respects to the elders past and present and elders of other communities who may be here today. One Spatial is the leading global partner of Safe Software and Australasia's largest value-added reseller of FME. Since 1999, we've honoured our technical experts in the FME products, and our certified consultants help our customers who benefit from over 50 years worth of experience in the field of geographic information. We work closely with SAFE to ensure you get the very best value out of your FME products. Now let's take care of some housekeeping. To facilitate seamless interaction, you have all been placed on mute. Please feel free to send any questions you may have through to the Q&A feature available to you at the top of your screen. These questions will be answered at the end of our session during a panel discussion with our team. Okay, so as mentioned, today's webinar will be covering the 5 hot features of FME 2025, and I'd like to now introduce you to our FME certified professional, Sam Cotero. Over to you, Sam.
Thanks for the introduction, Emma. So as part of the 5 hot features of FME, I will be discussing about the ASS, which is a very interesting topic and powerful new feature. So people get excited when talking about AI as it possesses a lot of things, such as making process a lot easier and helping us understand things better. For myself, I really get excited since I saw the development of AI within FME. But before we start, just a short introduction about myself. I'm Sam. I've been using FME not so long ago. So I started using it 2 years ago and got my certifications for both FME Form and Flow. I have roughly 3 years of experience in geospatial data analytics prior to joining One Spatial, and now almost 2 years in the company as a consultant and also a support manager. So here's a quick summation of ASS in 2024 to demonstrate how far it has come in 2025. The basic AS assistance was introduced in 2024. It is available in a select few transformers. So it is great for generating script for regex, SQL statements, Python scripting, but it is limited to open languages and no support to FME specific functionality. So for myself, I use it a lot before, especially if I want to extract a string. I use ASS to help me with that. So I use regex for that one. Although it's not that powerful from before, I like it. I like the ASS back then as it helps me in simple ways like explaining how the script works or how the regex works. So this is a short overview of how ASS looks like last year. Moving on, so how users seek answers. People would submit questions to the community seeking answers. They will also go digging through various resources such as FME documentation, FME community, FME academy. So that's the usual process when users encounter some issues with their FME processes. So imagine if all this can be found in a singular location. Something that can be accessed in FME Workbench and also have an awareness of what is required based on your canvas. So sounds familiar, right? It's AI. So now with ASS in 2025, it consolidates all available information, so including the resources that we have mentioned from previous slides. So this is useful. This is so useful, especially if you're new to FME. So you can just simply ask it then it will give you the answer. So just remember to ask right questions. Sometimes people get frustrated when they can't get any answer when in the first place their questions are wrong. So this is also a good training ground for formulating good questions. Also, I remember there was a question before in AS's 2024 webinar whether other models are used and if their data is being accessed outside SAFE. FME 2025 removed the option to use other APIs within AAssist. So it uses SAFE Software's AM model, which provides a reliable and consistent experience and maintains user privacy. So in the next slide, I will be playing a short demo from my colleague, Sam McDonald, just to give you an idea on how AAssist looks like.
The AI Assist, a very helpful tool that allows us to ask our questions in FME Workbench exactly where we need the answers, that will pull from sources such as the FME community, knowledge base, documentation, all these good trusted sources. To get started with the AI Assist, we just need to click this button that says AI Assist and log in using a FME account. So I can do so as such and put in my password as well. There we go, and verify that I am human. I am in fact human, last time I checked. We'll log in, we'll have to authenticate as well, authorize is what I mean. And then, voila, we have access to the AI Assist, where we can ask whatever questions we want, such as, how do I convert from GDA 94 to GDA 2020? Well, that will go off and think for a second. And once it's done, it should give me a whole heap of useful information related to the reprojection, perhaps what libraries I might want to use, so NTV2 for example, the transformers themselves, and even useful links that I can go off and have a look at related to this subject matter. If I click that, it will actually take me off to a new page where it gives me useful articles on this information. So it gives me lots of good information within FME and also allows me to go and find the external information very easily, but I never had to leave FME Workbench to get started.
So yeah, that's a short demo on how AI Assist works. So in addition, SAFE is also planning to improve the AI assistance. So the idea is to have a pull-out panel on every text box that allows you to interact with text, so including Python code, SQL, FME macros. So this is the current evolution of existing, which is the regex, SQL, and Python. So they're also planning to make everything easier for the user, like building on actions. So you can add transformers, then add more transformers and connect them. They are also helping new users to be onboarded a lot faster using contextual guidance and suggesting relevant help articles. So also when we encounter an issue, what we usually do is go to logs, scroll a lot to find the line with the issue. But with this, the FME flow improve observability. It will be a lot easier to debug. So with this feature, we understand logs without digging through raw text. So we get system insights instantly using natural language, pinpoint root causes of errors faster, and access server stats like job counts and runtimes via natural language. So yeah, that's it for AAssist. Hope you learned a lot from this section, and yeah, thank you so much. Over to you, Priyanta.
Thanks, Sam. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from today. I'm Priyanta Pallegama, a senior consultant from One Special Australia. Today I'm here to talk about data virtualization, a hot topic in FME Flow 2025.1 within next couple of minutes. If you are using FME Flow 2025.0 or earlier version, you should upgrade it to the latest release, which is 2025.1, to use this feature. What is data virtualization? Data virtualization is building REST API in FME Flow for real-time access to your data. REST API, I think it's a familiar term for you all since it's a common way of real-time data access nowadays. FME Flow also supports Open API standards. Being comply with Open API standards, it automatically creates a Swagger interface for you when you build REST API endpoints in FME Flow. That's a bonus. That's not all. You can build your own REST API with Swagger interface without writing a single line of code. Isn't that cool? Why use data virtualization? It provides real-time access to distributed data without replication and expose data transformation logic through reusable API endpoints, so you don't need to build workflows again and again, and share curated datasets with internal teams or external systems, and reduce the needs for schedules, exports, or file-based transfers. So if you are building scheduled tasks or the automations, you can replace them with REST APIs. So we will discuss that in detail in the next slide. And integrate data with dashboards, reporting tools, or web applications which requires real-time access to data. And grant access to data workflows for generative AI systems like OpenAI. So there are two types of endpoints you can create in FME Flow. First one is manual endpoints. Manual endpoints deliver static response such as address and location data or about info of a company, for example. When a user sends a request to a manual endpoint, FME Flow responds with predefined static content. Therefore, it doesn't run any FME workspace in FME Flow, and no engines are used in this process. That's important to note. When no engines are used, they are available for other tasks. If they are standard engines, or in case of CPU based engines, no credits will be used. And the other type is workspace endpoints. They respond with dynamic contents based on users' requests. Therefore, when the request is sent to FME Flow, it runs a workspace to retrieve required data from single or multiple resources and translate them to provide the correct response. So let's have a quick look into a manual endpoint, how we can create a manual endpoint. In FME Flow 2025.1, you can get this data virtualization menu in the left ribbon. When you click on the data virtualization menu, you'll be presented two options, either to create API or import from OpenAPI. Just click on the create API to start creating a new API. Then insert title, namespace, version, summary. So we will create environmental impact and response API in this case, and a little bit of description, and then click create. So now you get option to create endpoint. You see the endpoint tab. So just click on the endpoint tab. First you need to create the tag, create a tag in order to create endpoint. Just click on the manage tags and then insert a name, let's say general. So tags are the features that we can group those endpoints in the API. So we have created a tag called general, and then hit create button again and insert the path, then the operation leave it as get in this case, and then a summary, description, and then choose the endpoint tag we created just now, the general, and then leave the inherit API settings as it is. Now you can hit create button to create the endpoint. When you hit create button, it gives you two options to select whether the workspace endpoint or manual endpoint. In this case, we are going to create a manual endpoint, so click select or the click manual endpoint, and then let's say we'll select 200 OK as the status code, and then a description can give a successful, and in this case we'll select application JSON as the content type. Since it's JSON object, we need to provide a JSON object as the static content for the response. So paste the JSON object there and then hit create button. Once you hit create button, you'll be given option to access the Swagger documentation. So hit create, I'll create the endpoint, and then you'll be presented to view documentation. So this is the Swagger interface. So you can see this get request we created just now, and if you hit try it out then button, then you can see the actual output of that endpoint. So that's how we can create a manual endpoint. It's very simple, no writing of any code. So the procedure is same for workspace endpoint, but you need to upload a workspace. So what are the typical use cases? You can use web and mobile applications with REST API endpoints, and then dashboards and BI tools, external data sharing, self-service access, generative AI, or legacy system bridging, because that's a common query that we receive from clients. They have legacy system, legacy database system, for example, and they need to integrate with their current system. So this is a good way that you can integrate those legacy systems with current systems. So that's all about data virtualization. If you are interested in data virtualization, please follow this Safe Software article, which contains step-by-step guide to build your own manual or workspace endpoints. I'd now like to hand it over to Michael Studdard. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Michael Studdard. I've been an FME user since 2021. I've been in sales for my time at One Spatial, but also recently started in pre-sales too. I am certified both professional and technical for FME Form, and have some experience as well with our own One Spatial products with One Integrate and One Data Gateway. So today I will be taking you through the new document PDF writer that's been released in FME 2025. I'll be showing you how to style items for your PDF report, how to format these in page arrangement, and then also, of course, writing it out to your output. So what's new is that it's been introduced because it replaces an old PDF writer. It's introduced to simplify the process of creating PDFs with richer content. That's most kind of see what I mean when I'll show you the styler. But there's quite a number of different document types you can create that you can include in your PDF. So there's also the formatting attributes. The names have changed. So if you like setting the finer details in the formatting attributes, this is important to know when you go to set those values. The new transformer relies on features introduced in FME 2024.2. So it means this is not compatible with earlier versions and a few things. So it's actually not compatible with the PDF page formatter, which is a bit of a bummer, but yeah, good to tell you guys now before you keep wondering why none of the formatting is working when you write it out. And yeah, you need a build of 24783 or higher for the writer to be installed. So the features of the writer, you can see the screenshot I put in on the left. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, really. You can set the page size, orientation, and also show, if you want to show the page numbers, you can tick that little box. It can process multiple pages, and it works seamlessly with the PDF styler, and publishes all the objects outputted from there. So this, you can kind of see these few things are these few functions are things you would have done in the PDF page formatter. Most the actual object setting on the page isn't there, but I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. So this is the PDF styler. It styles 9 different types of PDF objects. I've got a table up here on the left just to show you how it can sort of very graphically create that for you and be really clear in formatting and column width and what the table's going to look like, as well as some styling and headers, and you can set captions as well. There's a few things you can do depending on what sort of content type you're creating. It has, I think it offers a little bit more than the old PDF styler. And then what's happening here is that the PDF, this styler with line spacing, font size, table row, all that sort of stuff, those are pulling those values into those formatting attributes, and that will overwrite the default format values in the writer. So that's how it sort of technically works. So how do we format? I mean, if you're using the styler, that's kind of how you you do. But if you are a bit, as I said before, a little bit more into it and you're a bit more familiar with things like what I'm showing you on the left, you can sort of set these values before the writer to implement that type of formatting. So I'll show you in a little bit an example of one of those. But I think things like page breaks is a really good way to set out content per page, so you're not sort of risking it with just spacing between things. But yeah, things like padding, I think is what helps in that area. So I'll take you through an example of a workspace that uses this PDF writer. So this is just an error report really for some non-conforming features, for some utility data that gets passed through a bit of a conformance test. So this basically samples just one of those features from one of the rules, extracts the coordinates, uses that to turn it into like a bounding box, and then that bounding box clips out the features that's around it, and then is rasterized into an image for the PDF report. So the final sort of processing, you see here, I've got 3 items for my PDF report. I've got the table, then I've got the title, then I've got the image, which I should have annotated. I don't know why I didn't. And then you can see next to that, I've then set the list order by setting that value in the attribute of document PDF list order, even though they're getting fed into the data set in a different order. So when that pops out, you can see I've got the title at the top with the ID value in there dynamically. The table with some of those values is the same screenshot that was in before when I was showing you the styler. And then there's this rasterized image of the error that's has the caption below telling you that it's the red, which is the failing one. And then the nodes are in green. So yeah, a few little things that I did. So I split those 2 layers in the screenshot, buffered them to make them a bit bigger, and then styled the pipes to be blue. And then I actually styled the incoming feature to be red as well. But that just makes it much more clearer when you rasterize it. And do not use the data inspector to look at your cached image rasterized, because it's going to look awful. And it's deceiving. Open it up in QGIS or Esri, and that will, or something like that, and that will give you a much better, or just write it out to a PDF, and it'll give you a much better idea of what it's going to look like. So padding, what I was talking about before, this is what I used to make sure the image was spaced out from the table, because before it was just kind of jamming up all on itself. But yeah, you can see I'm setting a padding of 30, gave it a good enough gap in this particular use case to space it out a little bit. In hindsight, I probably should have put a border. That caption could probably be padded out a little bit as well, but you get the idea. And yeah, that's everything. So appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Thank you, Michael, for that interesting presentation. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthony Hessling, as you can see on the slide. I'm a senior consultant here with One Spatial Australia. I've actually been in the industry quite a long time. I started out as a cartographer in the military back in the 1980s, 89 that is. So 10 years with Defence, and then I spent the last 26 years in the private industry. For the last 3 years, I've been employed by One Spatial Australia, and so the last 15 years I've been using FME on and off, but more often than not with One Spatial Australia. So today my presentation is not a very long one. It's about FME flow connection storage. It's something that's been around a little bit before this latest version. However, there are slight differences between previous versions and this current 2025 version. But first of all, let's just talk about what it actually is. So what is flow connection storage? Well, basically, it's a centralized system designed to securely manage and streamline the configuration and reuse the connection parameters within FME flow environments. So the connection storage supports role-based access, the encryption at rest and in transit as well, and seamless integration with FME workspaces. It enables users to build scalable, maintainable, and secure data integrations. So this capability is essential, really, for organisations seeking to standardise connection management, and at the same time reducing administrative overhead, minimising the risk of credential exposure. So what's new in FME 2025? We're talking about from 2025.0 to FME 2025.1, which is the latest release. So by designing FME flow as your storage location in FME, specifically FME form, teams gain immediate access to shared connections without the extra setup. It's a centralized connection store enabling consistent configurations, tightens access controls, and improves the overall workflow efficiency. One of the other things that's new in the latest versions is OAuth 2.0 web services. They've previously required different configurations for FME form and FME flow. However, in the latest versions, this is not the case. So configuration only needs to be done for FME flow. Well, what are the requirements? So basically, as I said last slide, yes, you require FME flow 2025 or later. So previously it was not possible to use OAuth 2 web connections when FME flow was the connection storage. However, this is now possible. As I said, 2025.0.2 or later. The only other thing that's required is that you must ensure that you have a reliable web connection from FME form to FME flow. We've seen that in many cases before where unreliable web connections cause processes to crash and not work properly. So please ensure that there's a reliable connection. The other thing you need to think about is permissions, especially when setting up the FME web flow connections. Permissions are determined by the account used in the FME flow connection, and these are managed in FME flow. So a point of note here is that any modifications when managing connections can impact other workspaces in FME flow, and you need to be aware of that. So when sharing connections, the FME author role has permission to access, create, and manage connections. However, only the administrators can remove, create, and manage permissions. So how do you connect? Well, to use FME Flow as the connection storage, you simply click on Tools, Options, Default Paths. This is within FME Form. Then click on the Manage dropdown and change connection storage, as shown here. Then, in the Change Connection Storage dialog, click on the FME Flow, click on FME Flow option and choose your FME Flow database configuration. In this example, I've used the local FME Flow. So to summarize, really, this just shows a diagram showing how you can connect using FME Flow as the connection storage for different workspaces and sharing permissions. Well, that's all I have to say about FME Flow connections. Thank you for listening, and I'll pass you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on that on the website, email, and via the number on the screen. I'll now pass you over to James, who will give a fascinating presentation on, I believe, FME Realise. Thank you.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Anthony. Hi, I'm James. I've been using FME over a decade. I have the Flow Professional Trainer certification, and my presentation is going to be about AR, augmented reality, of which I've been using a little while, and I really believe that it can bring your organisation some benefits in terms of your safety and productivity to the field, especially where your assets are buried or unknown and you need to action something. So at the recent Peak of Data Integration user conference, FME Realize was rebranded from the Augmented Reality app. It's designed for field workers and mobile teams, and it's powered end-to-end from form to flow, taking advantage of the entire platform. And it aims to deliver real-world data as a more intuitive, actionable, information-rich and immediate environment. So to take advantage of this, we need to author a workspace extracting your organization's data in 2D. We then transform it into 3D objects and deliver it using the power of the FME flow to deliver the app and experience. A lot of this is really well documented on safe webinars and articles, and you can see that down here in the new era of AR and spatial computing. Forming our workspace, there is a tutorial for you to get started with, and I've listed out the steps here 1 to 7 of the workspace you will need to build. We need geometry, we need a feature reader transformer in order to clip or spatially filter the data out that you're extracting, and we take points and lines and build some labels in a 3D sense. Lots of transformers there listed out, and there's an FME annotation summary, which is basically the attributes, as well as building in URLs and HTML within that annotation such that you can have experiences. We write the data out as an FME AR. This is what a typical workspace might look like. From the left, we've got our parameters that are replacing geometry, buffering, and then clipping the database to extract 2D. Then we've got lots of those key transformers that give us the appearance and 3D nature that we need to write out in the FME AR. Note down below, we can do a lot with images. We can drape them, we can texturize things, we could use models like objects and position them in 3D. So a lot of functionality. You'll need user parameters such as the GeoJSON in order to pick up the device's GPS location and be able to process that to clip your database. We have 3D transformation, we have attribute generation, and we have texture and image appearance setting. So we've built our workspace and done a lot of data inspection to make sure our 3D objects look really great. Now we need to build our app. An FME Flow AR app is available in 25.1 and it's pretty similar to other server apps, other than this one requires a geolocation parameter. So you remember that GeoJSON user parameter we created earlier? That will go here. So in our FME Realize mobile app, your device's location where you're standing will pass over to the FME Flow and extract your data, process it, transform it, bring it back. We need to place the model accurately. Now, we recommend Bluetooth enhanced accuracy, otherwise you'll be moving it with your 2 fingers to place it based on something you observe and know is in the real world. You also need to rotate the model, and aligning the model can be a matter of turning it to the north. Maybe you've got a feature that you can align it along, similar to that image you just saw. Once you're satisfied that the model's in the most accurate position and orientated properly, you can lock it in place. So it's pretty simple. The Realize, we log on to our server, run a server app around the assets we want, the buffer. It processes, you're looking at the ground as you're opening the model in your app, and then the model is placed and you can interrogate it. So we have our model, we navigate, understand, and interact with it. A lot of this is customizable for the field worker. Your heights, your weights, other attributes can come to life, and all of a sudden you start to see potential error in your data. For example, a 1,000-meter pole or a 10-meter wide pipe. This is great field improvement to fix or report issues in the field. You can develop another additional FME app to do so. Now, experiences are all about what's come since earlier versions of FME AR. We now have attributes and toolboxes that we can customize into the appearance. Attributes look like this, where we can do calls to other AR apps. We can create a table like this. It's all very doable, and there's examples provided from Safe Software. The toolbox, a little bit more involved. We have some JavaScripts and some icons that we can customize into a toolbox and allow the user to interact with. We take use of gallery apps. We start making use of other flow apps, and we bring it into an experience, a connected experience. So use cases, connecting to IoT devices, very simple to call an API, extract the data and parse it in as HTML, JavaScript to visualize it. Finding assets faster, FME can help you find, with spatial analysis, the nearest neighbors and distance to things. You can update the databases live and push photos, notes, other field things, much richer things than just a database. And make FME work from the field with all your other systems. If it has an API, Salesforce, CityWorks, FME can handle the requests and talk. And we can go further with our use cases and take advantage of the AI we all are hearing about at the moment. Perhaps you're recording some audio from your field, spoken language. Let's use an API to make that slang into something a lot more succinct and upload that to a database from field notes. Let's do some more higher-end analysis around detecting issues and suggest improvements for those in the field. And let's present them with potentially visual documentation and other integrated examples of what they could be doing in the field. So there is no limit to what can happen for FME Realize now that you can use FME to clean and make context-aware reporting. So the FME platform is ready for you to author and form workspaces to extract your organization's 2D GIS and create 3D experiences that Flow can deliver to devices in FME Realize, now available at the Apple Store at no cost. You need FME Flow 25.1, and I hope you get a lot of use out of Safe Software's articles and resources. And now over to you, Emma.